Boom! Who am I then? Who am I? If the voice in my head is not who I am, who am I then? The one who sees that. The awareness that is prior to thought. The space in which the thought or the emotion or sense of perception happens. Ego is no more than this. Identification with form, which primarily means thought forms. With form, which primarily thought forms. If evil has any reality, and it has a relative, not an absolute reality, this is also its definition. Complete identification with form, physical forms, thought forms, emotional forms. This results in a total unawareness of my connectedness with the whole, by intrinsic oneness with every other as well as with the source. Forgetfulness is original sin, suffering delusion. When this delusion of utter separateness underlies and governs whatever I think, say, and do, what kind of world do I create? To find the answer to this, observe how human relates to each other. Read an history book or watch the news or on television tonight. Or watch the news on television tonight. You're gonna see how dysfunctional we are. Just watch the news. You're gonna realize how dysfunctional humans are. If the structures of the human mind remain unchanged, we will always end up recreating fundamentally the same world, the same evils, the same dysfunction. That's why, come on, a new awareness, new consciousness is essential for us. That's how we're going to dissolve this overlay of the ego, and we're going to stop the evil shit. Come on. A new heaven, a new earth. The inspiration for the title of this book came from a Bible prophecy that seems more applicable now than at any other time in human history. Any other time in human history. It occurs in both the Old and the New Testament and speaks of the collapse of the existing new world and the arising of a new heaven and a new earth. We need to understand here that heaven is not a location but refers to the inner realm of consciousness. Heaven, the inner realm of consciousness. You know, when I seen heaven in her eyes. Yeah, you see heaven in her eyes. Heaven is in the inner realm of consciousness. This is the esoteric meaning of the word, and this is also its meaning in the teaching of Jesus. The teachings of Jesus. Earth, on the other hand, is the outer manifestation in form, which is always a reflection of the inner. Collective human consciousness and life on our planet are intrinsically connected. A new heaven is the emergence of a transformed state of human consciousness, and a new earth is its reflection in the physical realm. Profound book, profound teaching in that book. You should learn a lot. I already again, you don't have to watch it if you don't want to hear this. You're welcome to share the information with me. Since human life and human consciousness are intrinsically one with the life on the planet, as the old consciousness dissolves, there are bound to be synchronistic geographic and climatic natural upheavals in many parts of the planet, some of which we are already witnessing now. Ego, the current state of humanity. Ego, current state of humanity. Words, no matter whether they are vocalized and made into sound or remain unspoken as thoughts, can cast an almost hypnotic spell upon you. Almost an hypnotic spell upon you. You easily lose yourself in them, become hypnotized into implicitly believing that when you have attached a word to something, you know what it is. That's what I told you the other day. The fact is, you don't know what it is. You have only covered up the mystery with a label. Everything, a bird, a tree, even a simple stone, and certainly a human being, is ultimately unknowable. This is because it has unfathomable depth. All we can perceive, experience, think about is the surface layer of reality, less than the tip of an iceberg. Underneath the surface appearance, everything is not only connected with everything else, but also with the source of all life out of which it came. Even a stone, and more easily a flower or bird, could show you the way back to God, to the source, to yourself. When you look at it or hold it and let it be without imposing a word or mental label on it, a sense of awe, of wonder arises within you. That's what I said. The moment we let go of label words, and if you look at what you're sitting on and you don't tell yourself it's a rock, take out the word rock from what you're sitting on. This is not a wood. Take like the bird that you see there. If I take out the word bird from it, if I don't tell you what it is, if you come to the world and you don't know what it is, you will just be amazed at it, no? Especially if you don't have a word to define it, a label to define it. But by knowing everything and putting label on everything, we lose the sense of awe and the sense of the mystery and things. That's what I find. So it's important for eux. It's important for them to constantly define our reality with words and. If we take out, if I don't tell you that this is water, you're going to be looking at it a much different way, eh?
Yeah.
It's nice, the water, eh?
It's not cold. It's not
No.
cold. I can really swim in it.
Well, you can go with your, barefoot if you want. But be careful not to slip. In the summer, when we go on the other rock there, we'll do something with that.
Oh yeah, that big rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have any apples?
So this is what great artists sense and succeed in conveying in their art. Van Gogh didn't say, that's just an old chair. He looked and looked and looked, sensed the beingness of the chair. Then he sat in front of the canvas and took up the brush. The chair itself would have sold for the equivalent of a few dollars. The painting of that same chair today would fetch in excess of $25 million. When you don't cover up the world with words and label, a sense of the miraculous returns to your life that was lost a long time ago, when humanity, instead of using thought, became possessed by thought. Depth returns to your life. Things regain their newness, their freshness. And the greater miracle is the experiencing of your essential self as prior to any words, thoughts, mental label, and images. For this to happen, you need to disentangle your sense of I, of beingness, from all the things it has become mixed up with. That is to say, identify with. That disengagement is what this book is all about. Peace out.